And my daughter, she was sort of unexpected. Um, and I was, early mid-30s. I thought, well, I'm not going to have children. I was with my wife at the time, and we hadn't really talked about it or anything like that. But it was just one of those things that So I thought, well, that's fine. I won't be a father. So when my daughter came along, it was unexpected, and a beautiful thing for me. It's been wonderful in my life. But then I had, what if I write about that? Because there were some funny bits.
Oh yeah.
Leading up to, I tried to be Del Boy in the hospital. I always remember that when she was being born.
Yeah.
With the gas and trying to crack jokes. And I remember the nurses just looking at me, got out, and my wife giving me some my ex-wife giving me some looks and shut up type of thing. So I thought, well, if I can write about that, then I've got a premise of the 3 certificates, which is birth certificate, wedding certificate, and death certificate.
Yeah.
So that's where the certified came from. So, and then we've all been, and I've been married, but we've all been to weddings as well. So where things either haven't gone as they should have gone.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah. So once I'd got that premise, I thought, okay, well, I'll write from me looking back at my life, if you like, all the bad things, and there's some pretty truthful, being honest with yourself as you take through that, one birth, one wedding, and one death. So there are 3 separate stories, all linked with the same relationships, families, friends, etc. And I suppose the best way I start, in the end, I wrote it. At first, I was writing it as me, if you like, and it still is me, but I was writing everything truth. But once my creativeness started thinking, hang on a minute, we can go somewhere with this, So in the unexpected birth, there's a big twist, halfway through it, which just came to me in my imagination, and so I went back and rewrote so I could get to that point.
Yeah.
So it's like a fictional memoir in the end. Everything is true up to a certain extent.
Yeah, but it comes from a place of truth. That's
yes.
And I understand that, because for me, and I suppose it's the same for you, when you're writing, it's almost like some kind of counselling for you. Sort of psychologically, you're getting rid of stresses and worries that you've had. And I find that. So I might write a film or a short film, and it's not about me, but there's things in there that I'm sort of getting out onto the page that feels great, because you are getting, like the loss of your dad. And it's a way of healing. Some people have to talk to therapists and things like that. But I find when I write or create, that's a great way for me to sort of heal myself in a way.
Yeah, and I had and I never looked back on it, and I never talked to anybody about it. I had a toxic relationship with my late sort of 20s, where there was a bit of sort of violence, female to man, which is quite rare. But it's not as rare as it used to be. Yeah. But it was sort of rare, probably rarer then. And it was something that you never tell anybody about. You just, So I put that. That's certainly in the book. So some of the things that went through and how you just carry on.
And I suppose that was quite difficult for you at the time. I suppose now looking back, you feel a lot better about it. But at the time, you have to make a commitment with yourself that, if I'm going to write this book, I'm going to put it all out there. And is that what you had to do?
Yes, to a certain extent. I mean, you have to be a bit
yeah, you can't name names and end up getting sued. Yeah, I know.
But yes, I did. Yeah, and I thought, well, I do need to include it, because if I'm going to write, if you like, a memoir, even if it is semi-fictional at times, I did want to revisit those bits, the good bits, the bad bits, and also from a reader point of view. And I'm a big believer of this also from watching a film. I do enjoy that way you can go from dark humour in a sentence to taking a reader or somebody who's watching film into a very sad or heartbreaking situation. And I really, really wanted to do that so I could take the reader with me, so they could feel as though I'm sitting opposite them on a sofa, telling them the three stories, if you like. So, but it was. I found it. It did help. It made me think, God, I wonder if I've become this. Because I hate confrontation, Lee. I don't do confrontation. So we were talking earlier about shouting at someone for being late or whatever.
Yeah.
My way would be sitting them down saying, you do realise when you're late, it's because this is the impact you have.
Yeah.
And it's not very fair. And all very quiet and all very... And the same with my daughter. I think I've shouted her once in 21 years. Once. Yeah. The rest has been sitting her down, talking her through it, what she's done wrong, because I can't bear the shouting. And I think that takes me back to that. So I think that shaped me as a person. Yeah.
Right, let's talk about the writing process, because this interests me. With me, when I'm doing screenplays, there's lots of space, lots of gaps, nicey nice. With my book that I've been trying to write for so many years, it's hard. It's an hard slog. You can write too fast and put a load of crap on the page, and then you have to come back and edit it. I mean, you can split paragraphs, or you might not think about that. Tell me how that process went. Was it a case of you just sitting down and just thinking, I'm just going to write? Or did you have a process, sort of things planned out? Give me because this is the first book you've done. So give me an idea of what you did for that.
Yeah, I didn't. I knew the three stories I was going to write. So that's the first thing. So that made it quite easy. An average novel is about 75,000 words. So I thought, well, okay, I need to aim for that. So the three need to be split that way. That was the simplest way for me of looking at it. So the birth section needs to be sort of 25,000 and blah, blah, blah. And then I literally wrote. And it's interesting when you say you write a load of crap. Yes, you do.
Yeah.
You do. And you just keep writing.
Yeah.
Every day, even if it's for 20 minutes, half an hour. And I joined a Write That Book group back in November 2020 with a guy called Michael Heppel, who's an international speaker and Sunday Times bestseller. And one of his mantras is read, write, edit, repeat. Read, write, edit, repeat.
Yeah.
So read a lot, write every day, even if it's half an hour, 17 minutes, as he calls it, 17-minute sprint. Put it down. And then every day you do that, and you will write shite completely. Yeah. But that's fine, because when you go back, there'll be something you can take out of that. Because there'll be days where you write and you'll go, and which is what happened to me, and I would write a chapter, and I'd go, this is great. I love this. This is.
Yeah.
And then the following day, you'd be sat like this. Just sort of. Just sort of there.
Yeah.
And it's really hard, and you can't explain it.
Yeah.
But then I will always make sure I try to write maybe 500 words.
Oh, right. Okay.
Just, and if I was doing the birth section, I would write something about that. And because I was writing it a bit like a giant Ronnie Corbett monologue, which is your older listeners will.
Oh, good old Ronnie.
Will know,
class.
Because that's what it is. Because I'm writing about birth. Then I move away, even though it's still about birth. It could be about when I picked up my first dog as a puppy.
Yeah.
That's still part of the birth.
Yeah, that's great.
So I'd go off on a tangent, and then I'd come back to the main story in the chapter. So I could write a lot of crap. Yeah. And then the other thing is you'd be writing away, and then suddenly this idea would come into your head and go, what if I did that? What if I went in that direction?
Yeah.
And so then I would go back, edit, and then I would go in that direction. If it didn't work, you just stop and then you go off again. But for me, it was all literally writing, and then I would leave it. I'd do a chapter, but leave it for at least a weekly. Then I would go back and I would edit it, and then I would go back and I would edit it again. Yeah. Like you were saying, where you have no wasted words in there.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know, absolutely no need.
yeah, yeah.
Try and make it as tight as possible for the
Yeah,
reader.
because some people make me sick. These ones that write the 10-page treatment, and then they go, right, now I'm ready to write the script. I write it in 3 days and it's perfect. I'm like, fuck off. That's bullshit. I write exactly the same as you. I'll just put it all down there, get to the end, and then I'll tell you what I really enjoy, the revision. So when you're cleaning it up and you're like, what was I thinking? I wrote surprise 3 times in the same sentence.
Yeah.
But it's quite cathartic, isn't it? When you clean all that crap up and then you go, it's like sculpting, I suppose, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, but you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You know, and also it's never good enough. That's the other thing. It will never be good enough in your own head.
Yeah.
And you've got to, you know, that was hard for me because I was thinking,
yeah,
if I just change, but you keep doing that, it means you have to change the next bit and the next bit and the next bit.
But the good thing is,
you're absolutely right.
The good thing what you did there though is you were writing from your voice. It's not like writing a story, which what I would guess would be bloody, you know, really hard. Whereas it's your story and you're talking. What happened? So when you'd finished the book and you'd edit it yourself, I suppose then you had to get someone to edit it professionally, or did you just go for it with your edit? Because I'd always be worried about, I didn't put an apostrophe in, and because I'm crap at grammar, you know, without spell check and thesauruses, I'd be dead in the water. What did you do about that? Did you just go for it, or did you get someone to go through it?
No, I didn't. I got in the Write That Book group that we have. There's a good 150 people in it, and there was a lady called Christine Beach who was in that group, and she's a proofwriter, proofreader.
Yeah.
So I sent her a sample and said, "Would you look at this and give me your thoughts and feedback?" And what I liked about her was that she got me straight away.
Yeah.
You know, so she got the style I was writing. She got what I was trying to achieve. So she proofread the whole thing for me in parts, if you like. We did it probably in sort of 20,000 word chunks. Once I was absolutely happy that I couldn't do much more with it, I would send it over to her. So she did that, to be fair, and would come back with, "You're right, you know, why have you got that apostrophe there?" And do you realise you used the word just 500 times?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, it's a good
cracking job.
I'm glad you said that, because it's exactly the same with screenplays and scripts. I always send them to a reader, because some writers are very, they want to keep it close to the heart. Where I think it's important you get someone away from it to actually scrutinise it, you know, and they'll come back with notes sometimes, and you won't be happy with it, but they're looking from a viewer's perspective. And I think sometimes we get so involved from our perspective, but of course it's got to be entertaining, and I think that's what an outside source gives you. So I always say, you know, get one, you know, at least one reader to come back to you and say, this works, this doesn't work, or this is wrong, or something like that.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think your families and stuff, for me, are too close to it. There's two things. One, they could be, it's lovely, it's brilliant, because they're supporting you, or they could actually be critical, and you could fall out with them saying, what the shit do you know about it?
Yeah,
you know what I
mean. You'll never win. I'll give my wife a script, and she'll look at me like, "Oh, I gotta read this shit," and she'll go, "Yeah, no problem." And I go, "What do you think?" And she go, "Oh, it was really good." And I'll go, "Is that all you're going to say to me? You're not going to give me any sort of, you know, I like this bit. No, it's really good." And I was like,
So I'm with you, Lee. Yeah, sending someone outside that can really, and they won't be afraid to be critical, if that makes sense. And Christine wasn't. There were parts that she said, you know, "Why are you doing that?" Or, "It doesn't sound like you," you know, that sort of thing, which was really, really helpful.
Definitely.
So I did that. Yeah.
Brilliant. So for the future of Certified, what's next? Are you writing another book, or I know you said you'd love to turn this into a film. What's the next project?
Yeah, well, couple of things. I mean, I'm trying to, you know, being self-published, you've got to push this all the time. You know, you haven't got Penguin behind you, have you? doing it all for you, or banging
Yeah.
on WH Smiths or
Who
so.
needs them?
I'm doing trying to do a lot of that, getting it out there as much as possible. Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to learn. I'd love to turn this into a screenplay. I think it would make a really good probably a three-part TV series, one of those Sunday night ones maybe that you get on BBC or ITV about the 8 o'clock slot.
Yeah.
I think it would be perfect for that. But I need it's such
it's not an 18 then. There's no really sweary parts.
No, there's a couple of one swear word in the whole thing, which could be taken out. It could even be on CBeebies then, the way it's going.
Oh my God!
No, it couldn't actually. Oh no, there might be the 9 o'clock slot then. Actually,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah. If you said there's some dark humour, so that's always a good thing, I think.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, so I'm trying to. It's such a different discipline, so you'll know this now because, you'll know this far more than me, and I can't yet get my head round looking at the book, knowing that it can be made, if you like, into a script.
Yeah.
But changing that into, because there's much more dialogue, isn't there, and much more. And it's got to be much more snappy. So I've got software and stuff, and I keep dipping into it and not happy.
Yeah.
And I need to either, it's a bit like write shite again. If that makes sense.
I know. Yeah, that's where you have to start. Yeah, I mean, you get stuck, send it over to me. I'm no expert, but I'm happy to give you a few pointers.
No, I'll send you the book, and you can rewrite it as a script.
No problem. Yeah, and I'll the check's in the post. Yeah. But no, good.
Yeah,
good
that's what I'd like to do.
I mean, saying that, I've wrote for a long time, but I did tweak. I did look at a couple of short books, but to do a full book and turn it, I think it's definitely a skill. It's a skill to look at that page and say we picked that from that, and it's like you say, it's looking through that book. What do you pick? What don't you pick? And then you've got to think of time, so it's got to fit on the page. And if you want to do a three hour, so yeah, but you'll crack on with it because
I think probably the other thing is maybe I should be looking at the book. I've got it in my head of what it was. Do I start again, if you like? I've got characters and just write it slightly, completely different.
Yeah,
and not think about keep looking at the pages. You know what I mean? I don't know, but I would love to do that, and I keep, like I say, dipping in, and then it's too hard.
It's never you've written a book. And people will, like I said earlier on, a lot of people will say, "Oh, I've got a great book in me." Well, you ain't, because you ain't wrote a book, and you have, and that's a massive achievement. It is. Now, I always ask my guests for a bit of advice. So what kind of advice you'd maybe give to a new writer, or just advice you've been given in general? Have you got any sort of advice you'd give people?
As a writer, if you really, really want to write the book, for me, there's a couple of things. One, write every day. And if, we talked about it earlier about, I had lots of time and I sort of backed in my MD's role, that's fine. But if you really want to write it, as you say, do an hour a weekend. Do 20 minutes in the evening or first thing in the morning. Get up half an hour earlier. If you really want to write the book, write every day and write. And then the second thing is which is printed is that read, write, edit, repeat. So write every day, leave it, go back, edit, write, edit, tighten it, don't waste a word. A lot, and I did it early on where you put too many descriptions of a certain scene or when they only needed one. The reader's got it, so it's all about tightening.
Yeah.
But if you really want to write, then sit down, write every day.
Yeah.